Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do a Gameweek 24 wildcard draft because I know there are some of you who are planning to use your wildcard in Gameweek 24. And personally, I will not be using it because my team at the moment is still in decent shape. But this is for you guys who have to make some major changes to your teams. Hopefully you guys find this video useful. As usual, do give this video a like and also hit that subscribe button to support the channel. And yeah, let's get on with the video. So there was a lot of things to consider when making this wildcard draft because, there are going to be quite a number of double game weeks still to come for some teams. Now, some teams will also be having blanks, and also that's why I'm going to have to lay out all my considerations on the screen right now before I get into the draft. So the first thing to talk about, obviously, is the double game week 25 announcement. Now, the rumors were true, and now the Premier League has officially announced that game week 25 will be a double game week for Brighton and Manchester United. So Manchester United will play Southampton and Brighton both at home, and Brighton will play Watford and Manchester United both away. So obviously this is big news, and if we are wildcarding this week, we will need to take this into consideration as well. Now, before we get into this table that I have on the screen, for those of you out there who may still be thinking that Game Week 24 will or could be a double game week, well, definitely it will not be a double game week because it happens midweek and there's simply, no space to slot the games in. So now I've analyzed all the teams' fixtures and I've put some teams in certain buckets. So as you can see here, there's the blanks bucket, there's the good fixtures bucket, and there's also the good double game weeks upcoming bucket. So looking at the blanks bucket, we have Arsenal, Brighton, Chelsea, Leicester and Liverpool. So one look at this basket and we know the teams that we probably will need to stay away from now is Arsenal and Chelsea. As for Brighton, Leicester and Liverpool, they only blank once. So as compared to the rest, it's not that bad. And Brighton also have a pretty good run after they blank in Game Week 24. Of course, as we just mentioned just now, they have a double Game Week 25 as well. Now, something to take note is that Liverpool will be having a blank in Game Week 27, which means that we have to be wary if we triple up on Liverpool assets because essentially we will then be forced to free hit in Game Week 27. And since, all three of our Liverpool assets would not have a game that game week. And if there's any injuries or some players that aren't performing as well, then we won't have a choice and we would be forced into that free hit. So usually I like to have some breathing space and I don't like to be forced to make certain moves. So I would just give a little bit of a spoiler that I won't be tripling up on Liverpool in this draft for this very reason. Now, then again, those of you who already plan to use your free hit in Game Week 27, for sure you guys can opt to triple up on Liverpool. Now, looking at the good upcoming fixtures bucket, we have Aston Villa, Brighton, Palace, Everton, City, United, Southampton, and West Ham. So quite a number of teams here, and all these teams actually kind of stand out to me except Everton because they may have good fixtures but they are in really bad shape at the moment. So I would personally stay clear of them for now if I'm wildcarding. So maybe I'll wait for them to, pick up some wins before we start considering some Everton assets. But as for the rest of the teams, I think we should really be targeting their players and try to, capitalize as much on their good run as much as possible. So lastly, for the good double game weeks bucket, this is really the list that takes into account the double game week 25 fixture. So basically, I'm looking at after game week 25, which teams would have the best double game week fixtures. Of course, there are quite a few teams still with double game weeks to come, but some of them are really bad, so we don't really want to consider those teams. And this list is basically the list of teams that have the best ones. So we have Villa, Everton, Leicester and Spurs. So once again, Villa, really juicy double game weeks incoming. So in my draft, I will really want some Villa assets. And as for Everton, as I said just now, I'll be staying clear because, I don't really want to get into Everton assets at this point in time. And Leicester may have good double game weeks upcoming because they have quite a number of postponed fixtures that are pretty decent. But the upcoming fixtures, the single game weeks that are planned for them aren't great. So they have a blank as mentioned in Game Week 27 as well. So yeah, at this point, I will stay clear of Leicester assets for the time being. And as for Spurs, they have 3 fixtures to reschedule. So some of them are pretty decent actually, and the current fixture run, though it is not, something to shout about, it's not as great as the others, but it's still pretty alright as well. And if you couple that with, the potential of getting pretty decent double game week fixtures paired together, then, it kind of makes the assets quite attractive as well. So with all of this out of the way, it kind of gives us some context that we can use to build our team. And yeah, we can now finally get into our draft with a better picture of how we can structure the team. So before we get into it, something important that I have to mention is that this draft actually hinges on one very big and important piece of news, and that is whether Salah will be back in time for Gameweek 24 or not. Now, based on yesterday's result in the African Cup of Nations, we saw that Egypt edged Ivory Coast and they won them on penalties, Salah of course scoring the winning penalty. So we do not know at this point in time how far Egypt will go into the tournament, and that kind of decides how early Salah can come back. And you know, even if Salah is able to come back early, we've seen in the case with Mahrez where Pep actually gave him a break when he came back and didn't play him right away. Now, of course, this time it may be different because Liverpool's squad depth and City's squad depth may be a bit different. But for this draft, we are going to take it that Salah can come back in time for Gameweek 24 first. Later, closer to the end of the video, I will make some tweaks to the team that you guys can consider if we get news closer to the deadline that says that Salah will not be able to play Gameweek 24. So for now, we're going to assume he can. And as we can see, the team value for this draft on the left of the screen right now is on the dot at 103 million. So it's pretty alright, this team value. I would say it's an average team value for most teams at this point in time. I know some players in my mini leagues actually have team values of about 106 to 7 million, which is, you know, absolutely crazy. But for now, I think most of us are around 103, so this is quite affordable. And let's kind of put in the must-haves in our team first. So as we can see, they're already on the screen. And since we're going to assume Salah can play Gameweek 24 first, he'll then be a must-have as well. So these three players, I think we can all agree that they kind of take up the first three slots in any wildcard draft at this point in time. So really nothing much to talk about three of them first. So next up, let's target the double Gameweek 25 teams. So Brighton and Manchester United. Not only because they are having a double game week in Gameweek 25, of course, but both of them were actually in the bucket with a good run of single game week fixtures coming up as well. So for now, we're going to go with Cucurella from Brighton. And then from Manchester United, we're going to go with De Gea and Ronaldo. So talking about Cucurella first, in terms of Brighton assets, I really don't favour their attackers, and it's really their defenders who have been really outstanding this season. And in particular, Cucurella, he's been playing great. He's gotten quite a number of bonus points whenever Brighton keep clean sheets. So there's definitely some clean sheets in store for Brighton in the coming games, and yeah, we're going to want to have Cucurella in our team. Now, just something to take note is that he blanks in Gameweek 24, but this is a small issue since our team is going to be very strong. There's going to be many other players that we can call on to actually fill in first before we start Cucurella from Gameweek 25 onwards. Now, as for De Gea, I've chosen him as the main keeper for this draft because at 5.2 million, he's cheaper than a lot of the other options around him, such as, you know, Lloris or Pope. Who are some of the other options that people are going for. But as we mentioned just now, Manchester United do have a very decent upcoming run and also a double game week in Gameweek 25, so we're going to go with De Gea. And for Ronaldo, I know he didn't have a very good outing the last double game week that United had, but you know, it was quite a disaster, but we do have to consider that he didn't start both games. He didn't play the first game because he was out with an injury. So now that he's back fit, it is most likely he's going to start both games this time, and whenever he plays, Bruno Fernandes just doesn't perform or just doesn't score as well. And it's kind of been a trend that we've been observing. So basically, when both are available, I would say to go for Ronaldo, and that's why Ronaldo makes the team. Alright, so now we can start to fill in the other areas of our squad, and we're going to go with the players from the teams that I've identified earlier as the ones that we want to target. So let's go with Villa first because I think they're the ones with the best fixture run, and also they have great double game weeks upcoming. So I love their fixtures and their form so much, I'm actually going to triple up on them. So Luka Dean in defense, followed by Jacob Ramsey in the midfield and Ollie Watkins up front. Now, Luka Dean, in my opinion, is a must-have at this point in time because, you know, Villa have a good chance of keeping many clean sheets in the coming game weeks. And also, he has great attacking threat. He's on corners. Sometimes he puts in, you know, some crosses as well. So, he definitely comes into the defense. And next up, I've gone with Jacob Ramsey in midfield because he's the best budget midfielder in the whole game at this point in time. So many attacking returns. He started almost every game under Gerrard, and other midfield options for Villa such as Coutinho and Buendia, they don't stand out as much to me at this point in time since Coutinho's minutes are being managed. Buendia also hasn't been as consistent as Ramsey when it comes to attacking returns. So, yeah, it kind of makes sense to go for the most budget pick for Villa's midfield at this point in time. And then up front, we're going to go with Villa's point man. So even though he hasn't been firing on all cylinders per se, I do think that this run of fixtures will be a very good opportunity for him to shine and get some returns for us. So next up, let's complete the defense first. So we're going to put Foster in goal and Davies in defense. So Foster is the cheapest playing keeper, and as usual, I don't believe that we should spend too much on keepers because for the majority of the rest of the season, we're going to bench Foster. So at 4 million, I think it makes sense to go for him. And for Davies, there isn't a lot of budget for the last defender given how much we have already spent in defense. So here we do have to go for a more budget option, and Ben Davies is the one for me. As mentioned just now, Tottenham have quite a number of favourable fixtures that have been postponed and are yet to be rescheduled. So having him in our team just gives us entry into the Spurs defense for those juicy double game weeks that we will have soon. And also at his price point, I think it's quite okay if we bench him for some game weeks as well. So now let's complete the midfield, and I've chosen Foden, Bowen, Gallagher as the other 3 midfielders in our team. So we definitely want a City attacker in our team, and since we already have Salah, it's pretty hard to go for Kevin De Bruyne. So the next best, in my opinion, the next best City attacker is Foden. And he's a much more affordable entry into City's attack. Now, as for Bowen, he's someone that I think we can't really ignore at this point in time. And West Ham fixtures coming up are decent as well. So hopefully Bowen can continue his good run of form and get some returns for us. So lastly, Gallagher fills the last spot since Palace also have an amazing run in the coming game weeks. And when we talk about Palace, Gallagher straight away comes to mind. But someone we can actually also consider is Odsonne-Edouard. But for this draft, I've left him out. If you guys want to go for him, he's a decent pick as well. Alright, so let's fill up the last forward spot, and I've gone with Broja as he's the best budget forward with a decent run of fixtures from Game Week 26 onwards, as we mentioned earlier in the video. So I would say that at his price point, we can bench him for Game Week 24 and 25, and then come Game Week 26, I can see him as a regular starter for our team. Just because Southampton's fixtures really pick up after that, and he's looking the sharpest at this point in time for Southampton, so every chance that he gets a couple of returns for us as well. And with that, this kind of wraps up our team. So I've tried to, incorporate and take into account as much information as I could that we know at this point in time into this draft. And on the whole, I would say it's a pretty balanced team in terms of some of the players that we must have, as well as some players that we should have. So we can take advantage of some of the good runs that some teams have, and also the double game week fixtures that some teams have in store for them. So for this last part of the video, I'm going to talk about the case where Salah comes back from AFCON, but Klopp doesn't start him, or he doesn't come back in time because Egypt, goes too far into the tournament. So now if that is the case, then what I would do is to upgrade Foden to Kevin De Bruyne as a placeholder for Salah. And of course, since Salah isn't starting, then we're going to need Jota because he is the next best Liverpool attacker to have. And we would still need a Liverpool attacker in our team, considering that the fixtures aren't too bad and they are essentially a really good attacking team as well. So, with these changes, we can then easily bring Salah back in for De Bruyne once Salah returns. And possibly in the following game weeks, we can take Jota out because, as I mentioned earlier, I don't really think that tripling up on Liverpool is a very good option given that they blank in Game Week 27. Alright, so that's it for this video, guys. I hope you managed to, get some inspiration from this video for your teams. And yeah, do give this video a like and also subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in another video. Bye-bye.